And now, Kyle and Steven present another episode of the Go F Yourself podcast. It's Fix. Really? Well, that's embarrassing. The Go Fix Yourself podcast.
Welcome to the Go Fix Yourself podcast, the podcast where this guy to my left, Kyle, and I are just trying to fix our worldview one conversation at a time.
Jesus. As you guys probably all know me, I'm a multifaceted artist who's got so many skills it's hard to count.
It's funny, before we just started recording, we were talking about one of my favorite words, multidisciplinary artist, right? And I think it's great, but Kyle just can't.
There's just something about it.
He just can't get with it.
If anybody else thinks it sounds dirty, you let me know in the comments.
He can't get behind it because he's afraid of what might happen.
Yeah. It's like, did you go to Catholic school?
I did go to Christian school.
Yeah, well,
okay.
Something we have in common.
And the principal's like, hey.
Oh no, here we go.
Don't make me discipline
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Fuck, what kind of principal did you have?
No, it's the
Sonny.
fear.
It's the fear. And it's kind of, it's kind of, ooh.
Okay, all right. Well,
that's how we start.
What a fucking way to start this. We're talking about disciplinary and fucking
people are into
kind of
it.
weird shit are you into, my guy? Anyway, so I am Steven. I'm co-host, and like I said, joining me on my left, as always, is Kyle. And today we are joined by singer-songwriter, multidisciplinary artist, Ashley Young. Ashley Young. Thank you so much for being here.
That's hitting the bios.
Yeah.
Let me edit that really quick.
I know. Can you put that?
Yeah,
in
you're
there?
welcome. Put that on your LinkedIn.
You're gonna run out.
I never know what to say.
You're gonna run out of letters typing that whole thing in there, though.
You can't
multidisciplinary.
You can't even fit it.
Put that in my
Can't even
Instagram
fit it in an Instagram bio. It's too long.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're
guys.
very excited to have you. I knew, like, a lot of people in Alaska probably are familiar, but I like to say, so my parents listen to this podcast. They live in New York. That's where I'm from. Rick and Carol listen to this podcast. And so they don't know who we know. They don't know who we're, going to shows to see, or who's
Who's hot,
getting
who's
hot,
not.
getting hot, who's hot, who's not.
Yeah.
Hot. Me.
And so do a quick, for Rick and Carol in New York, do a quick little synopsis of who you are and what you do right now.
Rick and Carol.
Yeah.
I have cleared out my life to put music completely first. I've been performing for 11 years, doing, contemporary music, you could say.
Contemporary
Yeah,
music.
sure, right? Because, once you step out of I had like a choral upbringing, and everything like that. But been in bands now for 11 years, and I'm pursuing a solo project now for the last couple years since I've taught myself songwriting, and really just trying to put that first and see where it takes me.
Yeah. And anytime, and I know this is kind of off top, anytime I hear contemporary, I always think of contemporary Christian music.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
CCM, baby.
Ever since I moved into secular.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I love that you actually know that word, because I feel like
we need to stop the podcast. We don't deal with the seculars no more.
Yeah. I feel like that's so funny because, I have a lot of friends, and we all grew up Christian. We're not Christian anymore. And there are some friends who just weren't even religious, didn't grow up religious. Yeah. And so when I say the word secular, they don't get it. They don't get it. They're like, what?
They weren't.
I was like, it's devil's music.
Yeah. Anything that wasn't about God.
Yeah, secular.
But yesterday, we were shooting a video.
Yeah.
And when you brought up the Stephen Curtis, there's just these little nuggets that we grew up on that are like,
saddle up your horses.
This, in my opinion,
we got a trail to blaze. Sorry. That's a song I was singing.
And I've heard that song probably 1,000 times in my dad's car,
it's a fucking banger, dude. Still slaps.
Jesus likes this guy. Kyle. Jesus loves him. And, you just have these. Carmen was another one. I don't know if you've ever heard of Carmen.
No, Carmen.
You are so lucky.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay,
yeah.
Oh, so very, very
You're
close
right
to
in
us.
there. Yeah.
So we grew up, I feel like it was like a touch of I don't know, it had to have been late 80s, and it was still popular. So like,
It was very interesting.
Rebecca St. James.
Yeah, DC Talk.
DC
where it was
Talk.
Big on the
Right.
Jesus freak.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
Carmen
First
had
song
Who's
I
in the
learned on
House,
guitar.
and a lot of people always get that reference when we say
Who's in the
because we were
house?
always trying to like.
JC.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like you already knew the
Did
word.
we just become best friends?
But it was like, the Jesus was always trying to fight the popular devil music that was out there. They're like, Carmen, you kind of rap really badly, but maybe you could put out a rap song, and it was just always trying to keep up with the Joneses, and that's all we were allowed to listen to as kids.
Yeah.
We couldn't deal with the Corn and Limp Bizkit.
We had to sneak it.
Yeah.
Had to sneak that shit. Yeah.
Not anymore. Finally.
Look at us now.
I got an explicit.
Look at us now.
I got kind of lucky. My parents weren't really like policing that. My grandma kind of was. Like, I wasn't even allowed to say awesome.
Oh.
Because only God is awesome.
Oh.
I mean,
interesting.
which I can kind of get behind the reverence of
Yeah,
that.
God's awesome.
Respect,
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of cool to like be careful with your language like that.
I do agree. To some extent, even though I let a lot of things fly. So, that happens.
It's funny. Kyle won't swear, but he'll use the Lord's name in vain.
No,
Little dirty sinner.
Kyle.
Little dirty sinner.
I'm what Christians do when you find a loophole.
Jeez.
I'm just saying, you can kind of wiggle your way around stuff. So that's how I kind of operate.
Oh man, we could just go on a disciplinary tangent with
Well,
that one.
and we might. Let's save
It
that.
can go anywhere.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this. This is our first time meeting you, so we're very excited to have you on. Because like the first time we both saw you, and correct me if I'm wrong, was
that's right.
with our good buddy, and we talked about him extensively before this podcast, was Nick Carpenter, medium build, and you opened for him, not just at the show that we saw you at Beartooth, which he was on right after that, so we definitely talked about you and your opening act, but you also went on tour with them.
Yeah.
And so then also, all of a sudden, like Ashley Young just starts like popping up on my social feed a lot more, and I'm like, all right, follow, let's do this. And then so I mean, like I've listened to your music, and I'm like, we've got to get her on the podcast. So thank you very much for being here. We're very excited that you are here because we were just blown away. We're like, holy shit.
Yeah, it was.
She's from Alaska?
I know. It was like we know that Alaska has a lot of talent out there.
Yeah.
But I'm of the age. I'm 36 now.
Fucking old.
I know. Freaking. I have family, kids, all this stuff. I don't get out much these days. So like even medium build was way under my radar because I just like I'm never out. I'm never talking to people about like this hot new band or anything like that. And so when he was like, oh yeah, I was like, oh, I've heard of them. And then I've been seeing a little bit more live music lately, and I'm like, God dang, we have a lot of just talented artists.
It's popping off right
know.
now.
Yeah.
I feel so lucky to be kind of like in this wave. I mean, I was away for a while. So I lived in Idaho for 13 years.
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And, that kind of might be why it's like, who is she popping up out of nowhere? Because, all of my involvement with bands and stuff, it started in Idaho when I was like 18.
Gotcha.
And so.
And you just played Treeforts.
Yeah, I did.
Was that's in Idaho, right?
Treefort's in Boise, which
Boise.
is where I'm from. And I've played that, I don't know, 7 times or so, which doesn't make it not as special. I love Treefort so
I heard it was really cool
so
and a
much.
really cool culture, really cool vibe.
Yeah.
My buddy went to Treeforts, and so he was like giving me the lowdown. And he's
It was
like,
a
"Oh, I
great
saw.
year.
Yeah, he came to your show, and so yeah, it sounded really cool." So anyway, sorry not to interrupt, but you were in Idaho, and like now you're up here in Alaska. How do they make that transition from Idaho to Alaska? Because you're from here.
Yeah, I was, my family's from Southeast, we're Tlingit, and we were in Yakutat, and then moved to Anchorage when I was like kindergarten age, and I lived here until I was like 12. So, but in my bubble, I didn't really know anything about. I went to Heritage.
No shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Was it you?
Well, close. ACS.
Yeah.
Like we were
shoot. Okay.
competitors. Competitors with Christ is what we called ourselves.
We were on the same team.
Yeah, we were on the same main team.
Yeah.
Jam with Jesus. What was that?
Jesus and Me League.
Jesus and
I was
Me
in Jam
League.
League basketball. And, whatever. Keep going.
Yeah. Went to Heritage and then, moved to Idaho when I was, in middle school and kind of, just went middle school through college, got into teaching a little bit there. But it was kind of it was a struggle to move somewhere new, especially during the time I did. So I came back July 2021, where we were all trying to kind of get music started again, but I think a lot of us had been kind of, refining our crafts and kind of being very introspective. And so I don't know, it kind of seems like a lot of really awesome projects came out of that.
Yeah, we're just like laying low during COVID then just bam.
It's funny because like when we were like big in the local scene, I mean, I'm not saying big, but we were like trying to play music, trying to get big. And like, I don't know, anything that came out of Alaska, like no offense to all the music that's been out there, but it was just like, it sounded like it came from Alaska. You're like, it's like the mixing and mastering wasn't there. The production wasn't there. And so like my band, we were like, we have to go out of state if we want that sound. And so I think it wasn't until, like you said, like 2020, 2021, even maybe a little bit before. But I mean, like all of a sudden, like you start hearing these guys who are producing their own music and, not just guys, and girls, and producing their own music, but it sounds like something that they would go out of state for. And all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, they're doing that here. Oh, and I think that would like revolutionized it. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, like people are coming out and it's like, this is legit music that's getting some serious like ear time with people. And I think that was kind of like the difference between like the past and now the present.
Yeah, because I remember even throwing music up on like iTunes and stuff
your
like that.
Your guys' music sucked.
I know. It was like the recording, I'm like,
no offense. I mean, I'm just being honest.
It just was not a great, we shouldn't have thrown this one up there. And, it was like, but also when you're young and you have no money, you can't pay for like really quality production.
Well,
like
our first EP sucked.
Well, you're like, I think we could scrounge together $800.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You got one song.
Yeah.
I have 8.
If you're lucky, you get one song.
Yeah. And so, you run into those issues when you're younger. And now the DIY kind of generation of learning how to do all this stuff, like listening to Ed Washington talk to us about all that stuff he learned. And it's like you can learn all the just like you did, guitar and stuff during that. You can learn skills online relatively, I wouldn't say easily, but accessibly. Like all the information's out there now. And so that's awesome.
I wish I weren't so overwhelmed by the production aspect of it. There was a time where I thought like, I'm just going to have to do this for myself. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. And it's kind of like, that's so much. Do you really want to do it all?
Because something gives when you have to do everything.
It's the jack of all trades, master of none.
And that's I mean, y'all know I'm a multidisciplinary.
Yeah, girl.
Okay, so I also am a visual artist too. So add that on to like
right. When you're wearing too many hats, like it's just you can't. It's all going to end up mediocre, in my opinion. Like, nothing's going to be great if you're trying to do too many things.
Right.
And that's how I live my life. Yeah. Mediocre.
Yeah. I mean, I love being a master of none, jack of all trades, because, like, then it, like, leads to new things. Yeah. And then, like, not every day is the same thing. But you touched on a little bit of learning the guitar. And I think we talked about it prior to recording. Yeah. So talk about like getting into music, learning all that shit. Like, what was your?
Did it start here or did it start in Idaho?
Well, I mean, I guess if we're talking about like my solo project, it started
just like music. Just talk. Let's go back.
Let's go back.
Let's go way back, and let's talk about like what got you into music.
From when I was living in Anchorage, I have my earliest memories of singing. Just being like an only child, like singing to my stuffed animals, entertaining myself.
As
being
one does.
A little star. But my best friend at the time her family had this like amazing karaoke machine. Like it would play the music video behind the words, and we're doing like all the best stuff. We've got like Stevie Wonder, but then we're doing like Backstreet Boys, and we got J-Lo, we got Britney, we got Whitney,
all the good contemporary artists. Yeah.
And as like two little 7-year-olds just doing like Britney Spears moves that we should not be doing. But I'm a pop star. I can't wait until I get my like microphone that like
pop star at heart.
The pop star. What do you call that thing? The pop star
like
microphone.
I always call it the Britney Spears mic.
Yeah, I mean
pretty much.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what that is.
I just was like waiting for that day. And I did.
That day can still come. Do not lose that dream.
I have not. I was actually talking about it with my band the other day.
Look at Jewel. Look at Jewel. Jewel was folk, and then all of a sudden she had intuition. Just multidisciplinary.
We might go there.
I think you should still get the mic no matter what, because if you're playing guitar, it makes sense. You got to be hands-free.
I don't have 3 hands.
I know. And I mean, just come out with that sucker, I don't know what it
We're going to switch the podcast to those.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
We don't even use our hands, but we're just going to be like,
It's for drinking.
Yeah.
So that was about 7 then, you said?
Yeah.
Roughly when you kind of like...
karaoke and just like having this love for like being a little performer is...
That's always the thing that I think hits is like people love to perform because there's probably great singers, but they're shy. They don't want to be in front of people. You know, they have a gift, but it's the performing aspect that like I think you have to be drawn to because at the end of the day, that's a huge part of music.
That's always been what I wanted to do. And just like, thank God I can sing because it pairs well with it.
perfect. Thank you, buddy. Yeah.
But it's going to be secular.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a huge part is like mixing, a good voice with the art of performing. And then, it's the perfect storm. And so what happened after, you're finding out, did people come along and kind of say, wow, she's got a great voice? Or was this something you were like, I'm doing no matter what?
My parents were always so annoyed. I mean, my dad mostly just like, will you ever shut up? Sorry, Dad, but it's true.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a dad response.
It's like, I'm watching The Simpsons.
Yeah. Can you please shut up? Well, at least you weren't a drummer.
And but I didn't. I would never stop. And I started, I was old enough to do choir in 3rd grade. And my teacher's like, you have a natural vibrato. I'm like, what's that?
What is a vibrato? Yeah.
And, I just kind of going from there, just getting a lot of solos because I was trying for them all. And just, that was just I loved choir. I did 11 years of it in school. I did musical theater and acting. And because, performance was like kind of first and foremost
the thing you loved.
What I wanted to do. I had guitars. My first guitar I had in 4th grade, but also something that really irritated my dad.
Oh, yeah.
He made me get rid of them.
Yeah. I mean...
Because I make up my own chords. They gave me like a disc for the PC.
That's
He's
when
like,
you're good.
Please do, just at least do some lessons. And it was just dry.
Yeah.
And I was just like sitting there.
Honey, can we just
No!
strum an E minor? It's just 2.
2 fingers.
2. You play that all day, And
he didn't know how to play.
He just knew what it sounded.
He just was like, shut up.
Yeah. Well, at the same
thanks
time,
for your support.
So I'm on my bed, and I was a little rock chick at the stage. Okay, I was, and I'm like turning the distortion on, turning it up on my amp, and like.
Did you have the headphone plug-in? Because my parents made me use that.
Well, wouldn't that have been a novel idea?
Yeah.
If he'd given me that.
Because my dad very quickly.
Getting rid of the guitar.
I got a mini amp for Christmas. I was probably like 16 or whatever, and then the guitar got me a nice guitar. Roughly for a beginner, and then it was a headphone cable or a plug-in for the amp.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're going to need this. So he's like, I got you an electric guitar for a reason.
Right.
So I don't have to hear the garbage that you're about to be. I mean, in a nutshell. So I'd just be in there, clang, 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 clang. And in my head, it's just like on 12
metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it did not sound like that at first.
What kind of music made you rocker chick when you sang?
I was listening to, a lot of Green Day
Okay.
around that time.
Nice.
Yeah, big Green Day fan. But I was like, I was listening to so much different music. I wasn't really like, it's a lot of people are like, oh, my parents kind of brought me up on this
70s, blah,
whatever.
blah, blah.
And my dad was kind of like a radio hits guy. My mom too, and country. She definitely introduced a lot of that into my life, which still has an impact on me. But like,
so you had to kind of find your own way.
I was exploring myself. I was like an only child, very computer savvy, like getting on LimeWire.
Oh yeah,
and
we got a lot of stories about LimeWire.
A lot of viruses too. Yeah.
His computer got an STD. From LimeWire. It was pretty bad.
Well, it wasn't just LimeWire. It was BearShare,
Kazaa.
BT Junkie.
Pirate Bay. Like, Yeah, Pirate Bay especially. Actually,
Pirate Bay when they're like, you're gonna get arrested one day.
Yeah.
I'm like,
whatever.
I'm a child.
I don't know what that means. I just know I have
I know that
Regina
I just got
Spektor's discography now and cakes for some
I was
reason.
always on Pirate Bay. I was always the one like downloading the software, and then it's like, oh, you're gonna have to download this activation key, and I was like oblivious. I was like, yeah, sure, download, install, and then it's like, Stephen, why can't we use the computer? I don't know. I don't know, dude.
It's asking for a credit card again and my social security number.
Dad, I have no idea. I just
put it in and see if it works.
My brother was the one using it last. It wasn't me.
I had no one to blame.
Yeah, you're the only child. So
I just only child.
All I knew is that I couldn't pay $1 for every song that I wanted. I mean, my relationship with music was so frustrating back then because, I mean, I was very interested in a lot of music. I think it was kind of maybe weird for a kid my age to be like into, but I just remember thinking, I want this whole album. You'd hear the previews of each one. You just have to choose between them because my iTunes card only had $15 on it,
and an album,
and
was
I want a little bit of Destiny's Child. I want, I want a little Nelly. I want a little System of a Down.
Right.
Wow, what a broad spectrum right there.
Yeah, but
Destiny's Child, a System of a Down.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wake up. Yeah.
I love that.
That is, but I mean, that's kind of like the beauty of music is because once I think you kind of get into music and playing music, you start respecting like a lot of different genres that, like you'll meet people that are one genre ponies. Then they're like, this is the only music I listen to. I'm like, man, you don't have to agree with like country. I don't care for country that much, but I can certainly respect like a lot of songs that I'm like, this is catchy. This is well written. The lyrics are crazy good. I mean, there's good music in every genre. Mm-hmm. And some people just won't accept that. Yeah. And I'm like, you've never played music, I don't think, then. It's just one of these where, like you said, Destiny's Child, the System of a Down. Most people would be like, there is no chance that I'm listening to Destiny's Child or the opposite.
Right.
I'm like, I mean, you got to have fun with music, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I was brought up on a lot of that, like R&B, soul, pop stuff. And I mean, just it started with like the karaoke, but then the culture here around 2004, 2005, there was a lot of like soft rock going on. My dad was working for the radio station. He was working on 102.1, The Buzz, soft rock. And so I was I was getting into it. But he would get freebies every once in a while. And so he gave me Destiny's Child, The Writings on the Wall, which is my first album that was ever like mine. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, there's like Nickelback, Avril Lavigne playing,
Look at these photographs. I was thinking that. Like,
lovely.
I know. God, it's like Nickelback.
Thanks for singing that one.
Well, I was just like thinking, I was like, that's the one song that everybody always thinks of as photograph.
Honestly, Nickelback gets a lot of hate, but honestly, like they write some bangers.
They do something well. I mean,
something about them. I don't listen to them. I don't go out of my way to like Spotify them, but they do have some good bangers.
They have some dirty songs that like really get those like middle-aged moms.
Oh yeah.
Go.
I used to that grunt.
I used to work.
A woman loves a grunt.
I know. I'm not gonna. I used to work at a bank roughly a long time ago, right? Mm-hmm. And I was a teller. And
was this in Puyallup?
No, well, I'm not going to say any specifics because...
Was it in Washington?
Anyway, so we would close down and then they would turn on Nickelback and then there's that one song like about being... I got her like in my car and she grabbed the stick shift. And it's like super dirty and like... having sex in a car. And these moms, exactly.
Yeah, whatever it is.
And these moms were just like every word and like counting their cash, like, and I'm just like,
Kyle was right there with them.
My dream man.
Yeah, I know. They're just like, my husband used to be like, I'm like, okay, I gotta go.
That's what they talked like. That was a good impression. My husband used to be like this.
Yeah, exactly. You always gotta
smoke a pack a day.
I just don't want people to know where it was,
I mean,
know.
It is so polarizing with Nickelback. It's so funny. I went to high school with this buddy who is a guitarist, and he was just all about Nickelback.
Oh,
no,
he
was
loved them.
About it. He thinks that he was the greatest guitarist. I don't know Nickel's name. Mr.
Chad
Nickelback.
Chad,
Says, he
Weird
says
how I know
Chad
that.
is the best guitarist that
Ever.
the world has ever known. And so, but it's kind of cool to be a band though that has such polarization though,
Because it's very marketable.
I mean, I just saw, like Rick Rubin said that like if you're really actually like in creating what you should be creating authentically, like the shit that you make should be someone's example of like their favorite thing they've ever heard and an example of something that someone hates and they'd rather dig out their ears and listen to it.
I always think of that like Metallica's like that
Yeah.
too. It's like a lot of people like they have some of the most diehard bands ever, but like there's so many people that think Metallica sucks. And I'm like, God, it's kind of hard to like say that. I don't know. They've been doing this for 50 years.
Yeah.
Like they're doing okay.
Like on what basis? Really, what are they doing wrong?
Yeah, and it's just, and a lot of people do that country too. They're like, country all sucks. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that pay a lot of money to see country artists. So it's like, what do you, I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
So, well, I think it shows a good sign of a true artist too when you can like take those things and learn from them. Like, I mean, I like metal music and I like, chill electronic music, but like I also like a good bridge and a country song.
Yeah.
Right? Or well wrote ballad. Like Louis Capaldi, we were talking about him earlier, like, and his new song is like so fucking sad, but I love it. And it's like, you can take those moments and you can draw inspiration from. So you were saying like, that's kind of how you got started. You have an eclectic like array of music from, like you said, Destiny's Child to System of a Down. And so kind of like, when did you start like being like, okay, you had the performing aspect. When did you start like writing? What got you into like songwriting?
I didn't start actually songwriting until like for myself, I guess, until 2020.
Oh, but recent.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, there were times like what my EP is named after, window seat. In my last house in Alaska before I moved, I had one of those little window seat nooks, and I would sit there and just like, the rain's falling and I'm just looking out the window with my hand on the glass.
Yeah.
I still remember the first song that I ever wrote. Do you guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys sing it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay,
absolutely.
so it's raining. And the rain is just slamming against the window. Okay, are you there with me?
I'm right there.
We're in the gray window seat. And okay, here we go. Raindrops falling by the window. Raindrops flying by the window. Raindrops dripping by the window. Raindrops on my window. Right, so the adjective changes each time.
Hell yeah. Is that R&B? I mean, you got that voice.
I have to say, like listening to somebody, like I was like, she's not actually going to sing right now. I don't know why it is, because I'm so petrified of like the act of singing.
Oh, yeah.
And
just
like
sang Nickelback.
Well, embarrassingly, but like it's like when I see somebody with like a good set of pipes like that can just be like, I'm going to sing right now. I'm always like, I'm jealous.
Well, it's also confidence, Kyle.
Yeah.
Something we're lacking.
Well, maybe so, but
that was great. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing
Don't be
that.
jealous.
Was that on your?
Jealous.
Was
That's a really good song.
was that on your EP?
It's mine. No, it should have been. But it was kind of like, it was a little bit of, so Badu's got a song called Window Seat. Can I get a window seat? Dig it.
Erykah.
Erykah Badu.
Yeah,
just.
That's for Kyle over here.
Sometimes I don't know things. It's rare, but sometimes I don't.
So she's a big inspiration of mine, and then just like a callback to that first time that I ever was making an attempt to write. Or I mean, I wasn't documenting anything, but I actually just like for some reason remember that one because it's so catchy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should lay it down.
I think you should. It definitely does have like that nice like smooth R&B feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys have any
Paints a
more
visual.
like adjective ideas for me or verbs. Oh, they're verbs.
Listen,
Yeah.
if you want to just
This ain't a grammar
What else?
podcast.
What else? What
if
else
you
are
want
the
to
raindrops
brainstorm
doing?
sesh,
One of my favorite stories is when we did one of those, are they ad libs? Mad libs?
Yeah.
Where we got to fill it in. And it's like, give me an adverb. I'm like,
Just has to end with LY, brother.
Yeah. No, but it's like
it was funny.
I haven't.
I think there's like a social clip on Instagram or something, and like I was like,
so
this will
bad.
be a good. It was just me and Kyle, right, before we started doing guests, and I was like, this will be a fun idea to do tonight. So I got a Mad Libs, and then I was like, all right, give me an adverb. This is the first question.
First one.
And Kyle's
He's
just like-
already in the. Oh.
chill.
And then of
Chili.
course, in a podcast format, it's like dead air is not good. So I'm just like, buddy, come on. What do you got?
Give me a
It's
verb.
An adverb. I don't know.
Chill.
Slightly.
Yeah. It was like I totally blanked on all my grammatical words. I was like, wait a second.
Put on the spot.
Yeah, because I was like, I mean, I know how to read.
Yeah.
That's all I need. So, yeah,
so
it
you
wasn't great.
started. It kind of surprised me. You started writing your own songs personally in only like 3 years ago,
Yeah.
roughly. So was this COVID related? Like you were like, I'm stuck. I might as well just write songs
Sure,
about
it could have
raindrops.
been. It could have been. I was actually watching this show Songland that had a couple seasons, and I'd never written for myself. I'd been in 6 bands prior to that, and it was all anytime that I was like a part of the writing process, it's always collaborative, you know. And so I guess like I had kind of played a part in that, but it was like it really was still very mystical to me, like how that goes down. And then this show comes out, and I really love creative competition shows. You
Good segue.
and you really are chomping at the
Just-
bit to get it.
I mean, I was just pulling it out of you. You really got it there. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, listening to the podcast, you know Kyle and I are just phenomenal journalists. You know how good we are. You know how we just do a deep dive into our guest lives. I did one Google search today, and I come across this video on YouTube. And, you know, I was like, man, this is so long ago. And it's of the Ashley Young sitting in front of us, interviewing. I mean, do I want to be the one to drop the bomb, or should I have Ashley do it? Because, I mean, it's a very special moment.
It's her clip, you know?
Yeah, it is your clip. Set the stage. Tell the people. What did you do? It's a big deal.
American Idol.
Woo!
American Idol,
There it is.
baby. Top 150 when I was
Damn.
18. Yeah.
That's fucking
Nice.
huge. That really is big. 150.
Yeah, it was cool. And,
Yeah,
but
out of like a nation.
yeah, and I just had no idea who I was as an artist yet, but
We're gonna
but it'd been a dream
Yeah.
for a really long time. I'd been watching since season 1.
And
You
so
know.
you first off, there's that confidence we were talking about, because like it takes a lot of confidence to practice, of course, come up with a song and then go in front of these cameras, and then I'm assuming it was Simon.
No, we had Randy Jackson still.
Oh.
Was the only original.
Still
We had Mariah Carey,
okay.
Nicki Minaj, and Keith Urban.
You had 4?
Yeah, there was 4 that year. They'd done
Okay.
4 a couple times.
Yeah, talk about nerve-wracking. I would just being in front of that group, but also with all the cameras, and it's American Idol.
Yep.
That I would pee my pants. I'd be nervous. I get nervous just doing podcasts.
It was-
There's no audience. There's no like we got 2 cameras. Like and like there's no Randy Jackson.
Oh, and
And so
he's mean, dude. Yeah, he hated me.
He did.
Oh, yeah.
But you still got the golden ticket.
Yeah, so there's 4, and the boys said no, and the girl said yes, the both of them. So we were 50-50. There's a tiebreaker. Mariah was the tiebreaker, and she was like, let's give her a chance.
Hell yeah.
Oh, nice.
How cool is that? Mariah
Yeah,
Carey.
actually, she is forever going to be someone very important to me, because one thing I was dealing with during that time was I had vocal nodules. I had a node on one of my vocal folds from just overdoing it with all the acting and theater. I was right out of high school when I did this. And I was going to get surgery because I really thought that was the only way to move forward. So I'd emailed the producers like 4 months ahead of time, which the schedule, by the way, is like very loose. They don't know when you're going to return. They give you kind of a window of time. So I'm like, hey, I don't know if I should take care of this like now and heal, because it was like reasonably within the window of healing time, or if I should wait until after. And they're like, you definitely should wait until after.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And then I was not going to bring it up because I have never been like an excusey person, like I'm in the audition and it's not going that well. I get a no and I'm like, listen, okay, I have this thing.
I have a note.
Yeah. I was not trying to bring it up. But what my mistake was giving that information to the producers.
Because then they brought it.
Oh yeah, they put it in my file. They all have like little packets in front of them of like what about this person, any information that I've given. They're like, so they're like, it seems like you're kind of straining, are you kind of?
Oh, that's how they fucking know.
For it, and I'm like, feeling good.
Yeah, stick to your guns.
But then they keep digging, and I'm like, well, okay, like I really wasn't planning on saying anything. Yeah, but I am dealing with this thing, and then Randy's just like, why would she even be here? Why would why would you do that to your voice? You're so disrespectful to your voice, and
dick.
But it just seemed like this window of time. I mean, I was kind of like, well, here I am, like that between high school and college moment,
right?
And I did not want to go to college right away, but I was being pressured to, like, even taking the gap year was frowned upon by my family, but I was like, this is what I really want to do. It's also my second audition. I auditioned when I was 16. And didn't make it past the first round.
And then 18, they were like, let's give her a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a few rounds, I guess. Made it into a round of Hollywood week 2.
That's wild.
Yeah, but that interview, though, the video
that I saw, it wasn't of your audition.
No, the audition is not.
I can't find it.
No,
I looked for it.
The audition is not anywhere.
Yeah, it was just that one.
There's a photo.
Video.
I have a photo, but.
Well, we're gonna have to post that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the video, it's just so embarrassing for me to watch now. But I was.
If that's your most embarrassing video out on the internet,
you haven't made enough videos.
I was gonna say my most embarrassing video on the internet. I took it down because I was like, nah. I did let people watch this for a while, and now it's too embarrassing.
We've got some of those down. Too,
yeah. But there's still videos of me and Kyle out there that I'm like,
they shouldn't be up.
But you know what? I loved showing the process.
It was the middle of the night. They'd had us up since 4 a.m., if you wanted to get ready for TV, because then you had to report down there by 5 or whatever. And then the whole day of waiting in line, sitting around auditions, warm-ups, whatever. And it was 2 a.m. when that interview happened. We had just completed like a 500 question bubble test. They were trying to figure out if like we were psychotic or something.
Oh, okay.
And so we're in this hot room, and I'd taken my earrings out, my curls had fallen, and I was tired, and I just.
You know who we should get on TV right now? The people that have been here for 14
the girl
hours.
That put "kill Randy" on her bubble chart. She spelled it out. It's crazy.
She did use an adverb.
But it's all about them just trying to figure out like who's really got that. Who's got the mini curling iron in their purse ready to touch up? Who's like energetically prepared for this? Something I hadn't really thought of as like a young singer at that time.
Who went on to win that season?
Someone named Candace something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
nobody knows them.
Actually, I kind of like felt I didn't really finish that season. My roommate from Hollywood was the 4th. She was the 3rd runner-up.
Oh.
Which was kind of cool. But hasn't really gone on to do anything either. But the reason why
you don't see them on the Go Fix Yourself podcast. Yeah. Just saying.
I couldn't finish out that season because not any bitterness or anything. It was so dramatic. It got the worst ratings of any season because Nikki and Mariah just fought the whole time. And there was really this sense of like the contestants all had beef with each other, and which the show is very different now. It's like everyone just wants to lift each other up.
You still watch it?
But I do, but it's different for me now. It's more just I like to hear a good voice, but
back in my day, Randy Jackson was a fucking dick.
Yeah. And he's not on the show. But I was there.
Yeah.
But I actually so I'm 29, and you age out at 30 because like you can't be 30 on the show because like blah, you know, you can't
Really?
be like,
Because you have all these
Yucky.
18-year-old
I'm
Yeah.
33
kids.
and I feel like I'm just starting to hit my stride as an artist, multidisciplinary
Best
one.
looking I've ever been in my life right now.
but I wasn't planning on auditioning again. I didn't know for sure because it was in my mind that it was my last opportunity last fall to audition. But I actually got scouted by a casting producer. She hit me up on Instagram. Was like, "Hey, have you ever considered auditioning for American Idol?" And I'm like, "Well,
whoa.
I have before." And I told her about like what I'd done, and so I ended up auditioning again last fall, and made it all the way to this thing called the Winner's Circle, which is the executive producer round right before the celebrity judges. And then they cut me, but then they said 10 days from now there's another audition round. Like, please come back, and you just are, you know, taking a gamble on a new set of producers and
Right.
see how far you could take it. And I knew it was my last opportunity, and I was just thinking to myself, like, I don't think this is what I want anymore. You know, I was like, it just felt very much in my own hands at that point. And I was like, I just really want to see like where I could take this organically, you know, because I think a lot of people will really like bag on American Idol and like, you know, it is kind of plastic and,
Sure.
you know, and
Listen, it gave us Kelly Clarkson,
Yeah.
so I am forever grateful.
But, you know, I mean, there was something that they wanted out of me that I didn't have, but I know I'm a great singer. And so I wasn't like looking to dig for whatever that was that they wanted for their TV show.
Yeah, you were going to have to
Was
change yourself to kind of fit that mold.
The realization that I
Yeah.
had, you know? And so I was like, I just want to see where I just want to start small and like enter all of these small rooms, doing these intimate shows and just kind of like building like a real connection with my audience. That is like really the most important thing with when it comes to performing for me is
Sure.
just that personal connection with an audience. Because I'm telling stories from my real life when I write songs, and I'm just trying to like connect. I'm trying to find who else can relate.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? The need to connect.
God, I don't know. Maybe just being an only child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Needed
have no idea.
friends because they didn't give you family kind of thing. Yeah.
I don't know, but that's always been, I've been a performing artist with that in mind. I haven't spent tons of time in the studio really. And that's kind of like a major goal for me is to kind of emphasize that a lot more, focus on, because that's really the way that you make a wider reach, you
Right.
know? But for now, it's
Get an album out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Get it
Do all the
recorded.
marketing and all.
Get Derek Huckus on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, because we've had Derek on. We were talking about this prior, and so of course, you know, now my band, we go to him because I think that adds to like it's like you don't have to leave to make a professional record too.
Yeah.
And you don't need that like a ton of dough right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool. I'm excited.
What can
for
$800 get me?
with me?
No.
A lot.
With somebody good, you know? Like, no.
I got you, dog. I got you.
Yeah. I mean, you have to love the show aspect of it because you've grown up loving the performing aspect of music. And so, I mean, I could see, you have to tour to get your name out. Because, I mean, really, if you're not going to go the online marketing route of Spotify and social medias, I mean, the only way to do it is play shows everywhere. So when did you start? What was your first tour like? Or where was that at?
My first tour was with
With Nick.
Nicky C.
Oh, so recently.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first time that
wow.
I toured because
That's cool.
all the bands I'd been in, we'd never toured. We'd just played locally and around the Boise
Sure.
area, and that was, I mean, my last band in Idaho had like some great local success. You know, like our audience was like middle-aged people who are like buying all of our merch and buying tons of drinks at the shows, and it was going well. I was happy.
Nice.
I got a lot of great performance experience, but we never took it there. And the pandemic, we kind of dissolved, and I started writing by myself, and then was just kind of like starting from square one again, it felt, but then that's that my personal project is what I really am interested in taking on the road. So when Nick asked me, I was completely thrilled. I felt so lucky to be on a tour with someone at his level already, because, you don't like, I won't get to experience another tour like that until I'm either invited again to support someone who's at that level, or until I get to that point.
Sure.
Right.
So it was cool to meet industry people and just kind of figure out what it was that I was underprepared for, and kind of needing to prove myself a little bit, because I've got talent, I've got stage presence, because the performance aspect I've kind of gotten down. But what Nick's manager really wanted from someone in that support role was someone who is going to have West Coast draw, who was, they wound up selling it out without my help, but I don't have fans already established in that area. I don't really have a great like online presence yet to kind of to back that up. And
well, I think that's the thing too with like artists. I mean, we don't have to go into the nitty gritty, but it's like if you're doing it DIY style, you're like, I just want to focus on the fucking music, man. Like that's what I'm passionate about. And I feel like this fucking social media or like creating content can really bog down the creative process.
Yeah.
Right?
It's distracting.
Yeah.
It's a lot to think about at once. And so taking on now I'm just like a baby guitarist, a baby songwriter, but someone who also wants to like write from this tender spot, which takes a lot of like emotional labor, and I'm not really interested in writing in any other way, at least right now, so adding all of the content on top of that, and like, needing to find this other ways that like you're entertaining people I mean, I haven't really hit my stride with that, although I have resolved that I want a good relationship with social media,
Yeah.
And I just kind of feel like once you kind of break down that like it's your enemy or something, then it probably is a lot easier to use it as just like a great tool.
Yeah.
I think that's we've talked about this extensively, even before we started having guests on here. It was like my relationship with social media was very tainted.
It's just toxic.
It is, honestly. And it's really, really hard. And I feel like I've just gotten to a place where I'm like, okay, I'm like feeling good about like, and I'm not checking it for likes every fucking 30 seconds or, whatever. I'm using it as a place to connect and grow a community. Of course, it's like, I'm still doing the whole fucking like, look at my shit, but there's at least a little bit of healthiness to it. And it took me forever to get there, right?
Yeah.
You get into this fucking hole, and then you're just like, looking at the numbers, and you're getting like equating it with your wealth, or not wealth, your I don't know, just like your experience, but also like your music, or for me it was videos, and so it's just like, oh, low numbers mean it's a bad video,
right?
And you're like, I suck, and then so it was a lot of self-worth,
And then you're like posting the thirst traps, trying to get the algorithm.
We've tried. We've tried. They've hurt.
Trying to bring back those MySpace angles.
We did do like one night of like TikTok trends. Me and Kyle did back in the day.
Yeah.
They're still up.
Well, I took a couple down. I took one or two down that I was like, I don't know.
There was a few very questionable choices that we made that night.
A couple jokes we made that we didn't think through very well.
Yeah.
And we were like, let's just film it. Yeah. And they were like, oh. I don't know how that's going to go over in this climate.
That's probably good.
Yeah. I mean, that was 2020.
It's right when TikTok came out. We had that TikTok night. I remember. And we just like, any idea came to us. It was like 10 videos. We just pop. We just posted. And it was like, let's just try this TikTok thing and see if we can pop it off.
Yeah. Go viral.
But it was more to go viral. And it was like,
than to be healthy.
Yeah. So I mean, like, this is a long way of saying, like, you have to be doing your own thing. You're running your own business, right? And that's like how I look at it, because like, music it can be great, right? It's a passion, but also like if you want to get bigger, it has to become a business. You have to make money off of it.
There has to be consistency.
Yeah. And so I feel like that is the side where I'm still lacking. I think a lot of creatives are, because we're just like, we're all like, we just want to be free and have fun. And
I actually like don't even
music.
use TikTok. Like I don't scroll on TikTok. recently actively been trying to get addicted to TikTok because
You've been trying to get addicted.
this is something I'm actively doing, and I just think about myself like 10 years down the road in like a social media, support group.
Yeah,
like,
you're in a coma.
I made that decision consciously.
I went too far.
I wanted to get addicted, guys.
But I mean, it's like the goal really for me is to get this because TikTok is just so oversaturated. So I'm actually trying to like find the music stuff. I'm trying to go through and just like teach the algorithm like what I want to see, who I want to maybe see my stuff.
Yep.
Is kind of the goal right now, but it's just, it's like.
It's exhausting because then you got fucking TikTok, then there's Instagram, and then there's Facebook, and then there's Twitter, and then there's YouTube, and it's
Snapchat,
like. And then fucking Instagram's coming out with a Twitter competitor at the end of this month, and it's like, come on.
Oh, I don't even know about that.
Yeah,
I don't even use Twitter.
Yeah, see, I mean.
Never got into it.
It's fucking wild. And it's a lot. But that's just the social media scene, right? But then there's so much more behind it. And so how are you like, I don't know, you want to get out there. You're trying to get on more shows, go on more tours and writing music. You're trying to be emotional, which is also for an artist can be like a really daunting thing to really go into that space and then feel like can, be very therapeutic. Yeah. But also it's very tough to, get in there and then be vulnerable with strangers. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about art, but it also is like, people have to fucking have the confidence to do it. So how are you finding that balance between what you want to do, the performance, the writing, the music, and like the business side? That's what I would say.
I'd probably like what the promotion that I'm doing. I want it to all be authentic, and it's weird because they kind of have to like come at the same time, because if I have more things going on, I'll have more things to post about, and like so one has to come before the other, and so it kind of comes in waves. There's like a lot of traffic on my page when I was on the tour with Nick, meeting a lot of people, getting to put myself out there. I'm on his story and, people posting about me from opening with the first Top show in January. And so we're like back in this lull again right now because it's been a couple months now. And now I'm just kind of gearing up for summer shows again. But I think like the lull sometimes can be okay. And that's the only way that I have to think about it is like maybe Instagram and TikTok, they're not going to like reward me for not being active like every single day. But writing phases have to happen. And right now I am in a bit of a writing phase where I still have summer shows. But yeah, the like content will kind of come for me right now when I'm starting to kind of share some of those songs, and I'm down to like share process.
Well, I was just going to ask you because you say now you're in the writing process. Like, what does that look like? Because I mean, like I know for Kyle, he likes to turn the lights on low. He likes to put
we gotta set the mood.
Candles, scented candles.
Lighting is very important.
No
for
pens,
me.
no paper,
no pants,
pens.
No, I'm adding that on.
Yeah.
I've been there. I know what you do. No pants, no shirt, no shoes,
no tops, no bottoms. No problem. That's kind of that's the
little Al
that's
Green on the record player on the side.
Well, that was one thing we got to talk about. Is she is a journaler?
I am an avid journaler,
and I said you'd get really excited.
My wife loves you probably even more now.
Yeah,
she's
big time. I almost brought it. Wanted to flip through it with you. Like it's
because me and him. Even before we started having guests, is like I'm a journaler, and but I only do it when I'm like stuck. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, or I'm like, all right, I'm feeling like depressed, or my video that I worked 30 hours on only got 1 view or whatever. And like, writing it all out. So I'm all about either having someone to listen to my shit, like being a soundboard, or I just put it into my journal. Kyle, on the other hand,
single disciplinary,
just stuffs it all down. Yeah, gets in the bottle. Like,
I've said it before. I know it's probably good for me, but so are a lot of things, and I'm just not doing them. So
I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, I'm not doing everything. For good for myself.
Like, it took me a long time before.
How'd you get into it?
There was a long time where I kind of guilt tripped myself like that and thought I'm never journaling and I have all these feelings, But I was contemplating leaving a long-term relationship and when I was still in Idaho, and we were together for 6 years. And so when I left, I mean, I just had a lot to write about.
Sure.
And which is what my EP Window Seat all came to be from, where not all of that is getting written down. I don't write songs typically in the notebooks. I actually use my notes app on my phone. But the journaling is more just kind of like the more broad ideas, the things that I'm experiencing. And, it was an isolating thing to like leave your partner of 6 years. He is my best friend too, since we were in middle school.
Okay.
And so talk about kind of like losing that soundboard, and I need to express, I need to like be writing these ideas down and stuff. And that's just still kind of what I do. Making a transition, moving to a new place. I'm not saying like I have like this amazing community around me, but you can't just like meet someone and then just like trauma dump on them within the
You
first.
can try and see how it goes.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Listen, I've been depressed.
Yeah.
I got some dark stuff to tell you.
My name is Steven.
Hi, I'm sad.
Yeah.
I think
And I'm leaving.
So do you ever, I'm always curious about this stuff with like journaling. Do you go back and read it? Or is it more of like in the moment, like getting something off your chest?
Sometimes I don't have any plan when I am making a journal entry. Then for a long time, I kind of thought like, is this an archival thing? Like, are my kids going to go back and read about all of these sex stories?
Yeah.
Oh, gross, Mom.
Oh,
Jeez.
God.
Oh, it's every page. God damn.
Even though that would be really funny. Yeah.
And now I don't give a shit.
You just got caught on the journaling
I
now.
got a book to write. Dad, it's 2 pages. And one's the cover. Okay, well, it's still going to be traumatic. Yeah, that's
2 pages and one's the cover. That's so fucking funny.
Yeah, but that's what I always think about with journaling, because I will say I do like a lot of self-talk in my head, like where I wouldn't say it's journaling, but like I like work out things in my head, like I sort of like talk to myself, just not out loud, and I'm like, be like, why do I think this, and try to go through like all. So it's a form of journaling, I guess.
I'm sure you're kind of getting that.
point.
Like, I can't really get things untangled if I'm not really looking at them.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
same.
Very visual.
Yep.
I'm adding colors. I'm scribbling if I'm feeling mad.
Oh.
Or I'm writing in cursive if I'm feeling very daydreamy and in love.
So you can flip through and you can be like, all right, you know exactly how you were feeling.
Oh, hell
Oh, that's
yeah.
interesting.
Hell
Because
yeah.
now I go back and it's all my handwriting and it's like, I don't know how I was feeling that day. I don't know.
No,
And
and
it's
I've
like,
gotten to the point where I'm like pasting stuff in there.
oh,
It's turning
cool.
into
It's a scrapbook
It's
now.
turning into a scrapbook.
Oh, shit.
But I don't know. It's kind of helping me because I have a poor memory. And when prior to leaving my former partner, I also had like a falling out with some long-term friends that I had. And they were kind of my memory for me. They'd be like, you remember when we went to, it would be like a whole ass like road trip that we took. We went to Seattle and we seen blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, I don't think I was there.
Seattle in my
I don't think I was
entire
there.
life.
And
Yeah.
they're like, no, dude, like there's pictures,
Yeah.
And so I kind of realized like I can't rely on that anymore. And so I do like to kind of document for myself now, since I've been so independent for the last 2 years, being single and not really having that like core friend group who's gonna, these things that we all experience together.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fear for a lot of us. All it takes is meeting someone with Alzheimer's to like be like, man, there's a lot of memories you want to remember forever. And so I remember I kind of made this thing with a buddy of mine where I was like, we should call each other and just remind each other of like the good times and stories and all this stuff so we don't forget them, because someday we may. And
We've never done anything that cool.
You forgot about it. But like, it's kind of like the idea is like we all have all these memories, and it really does when you start getting in the late 20s, 30s. Like it's hard to remember your early 20s and a lot of things that happen because it's so much change in relationships, friendships, career, and your dreams and aspirations are all kind of all over the place. And so I totally get the whole journaling, and it's just like, I don't know what it is that I just cannot. I think what it is, as sad as this sounds, is I can't stand the idea of finishing a journal and then having to start like another one.
Oh, that's a good part.
Like
it's my favorite.
I just want an infinite.
I did it.
But then my fear is that I'll lose that one. Yeah. And then I'll have to move. And if I don't, and I have 47 journals, then I always have this tub I gotta like, hey guys, I got my
That's Alicia.
My tub of
when
thoughts.
can I get rid of my yearbooks?
My wife, she goes through journals like freaking water.
Yeah.
She'll journal like 10 pages a day.
Yeah.
Every day. And so she goes through them so much. So we have this ginormous stack of journals. I have like maybe like 3 or 4 from the last several years. Sorry. So it kind of made me think that I want to keep talking about journaling because like the thing that really got me into journaling was when, and this is a segue too.
Good.
Making our way.
Everybody get ready. Buckle up.
Put on your helmets. We're going on a segue.
Yeah. So
I'd like to.
we came up to Alaska and I worked at a Christian camp. I was very big into the faith, right? And I was until I was 23. And when I struggled, I got out of a relationship at that time too, over religious reasons. She was not, I was. And
Secular.
yeah, sinner. She was a sinner.
Yeah.
No, it was like a Bible
I love
verse.
you, but I don't respect
it was
your
a Bible
your
verse,
choices.
and we took it. I was saying like, oh, you have to take this literally, and she's like, no, you don't. And so it was just, and that's how it caved in. And so I struggled. I was like, well, do I believe what I really believe? And so I went back to these journals when I moved up to Alaska and was in Christian camp. And I was at this point, I was like teaching kids about Jesus and counseling them and like being a camp counselor. And like every journal entry I had like those summers, it was like, what do I really believe? Do I really believe it? And all of a sudden, like, 6 years later, 7 years later, I'm reading these journal entries and I'm like, holy shit. Like here I am going through like a dark time in my life. And I'm like, I've been going through this dark time and now it's just finally crumbling. And then, so I tried to build that wall up and I couldn't. And so I'm very curious because you touched on it in the beginning, and it's kind of a theme we have with people where we talk about religion. And some people are religious that we have on, and that's great. Whatever, gives you hope is what I would say. But like you said, you were religious. You went to Anchorage Christian or Heritage. He went to Anchorage Christian.
Yeah.
Dumb, I guess. I was homeschooled, which is not much better.
Way cooler.
Yeah, it was cool. Okay, all right. So like, talk about your faith a little bit, and then like where you are now.
I was very devout my whole life until I was 18, and I developed feelings for this girl in my class.
Oh, okay.
And it was completely organic, and I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I thought that was made up. I thought that was a choice because there was no possible way that in my family, whom I love and I'm very close with, I would never want them to find out. That's not a choice that I would make in my family because, I out of fear of being ostracized, and
don't we all?
Yeah. Which is still kind of something that is like, I'm not entirely open with them about, and except for like my mom, and it's like to me it's at this point it still is like a difficult thing to talk about, but being 29 and like needing to just like move forward and creatively, the only ways that I'm going to be able to express honestly is if I'm not hiding those things anymore. But it's very easy to do,
It's so easy to hide that shit.
I mean, it was like a couple years of me pretending after that point that I was still Christian, because I'm scared. I'm like, my faith is crumbling from underneath me, and I'm like on Tumblr messaging like, I'm like searching gay Christians. And then I'm messaging them. I'm like, what do you do?
They do not exist.
Yeah. And they're like, well, this could have been like
does not come up.
mistranslated, or, like this Bible verse might have been saying this. And I'm like, okay, cool. Trying to cling to that. And then just
something.
like, nope, it's not, it's just, I couldn't hold
Not working.
on from that
Not working.
point.
Yeah.
And so, just kind of had to deal with the fact that like, I also liked women, and that I was, questioning my faith. And then it just totally kind of, I just crumbled from there. I don't know. And that was like a pretty, it was traumatic.
Oh, yeah.
It was extremely traumatic because I didn't want that. I was going to church like 4 times a week. I was enrolled at Northwest Nazarene University to study worship.
Ooh.
I went to a music college to study worship too. I was on track to get my bachelor's in ministry.
Then the bachelor's in like 4 chords is what that kind of felt like.
G, C, D, E minor, baby. Woo!
And I was going to do that. And then actually it was American Idol is the reason why I actually took the semester off to audition.
Oh.
And when I came back, I was just so gay that I was like, I'm not, I don't know. It had already done a number. And I was like, kind of like, I don't know, this is a really expensive school. I already had a dorm. I already had a roommate. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take a step away from this. And I don't really know. It's been like this kind of process. And I wasn't journaling back then either. And I really, really wish that I was, because I didn't really have tons of people to talk to about it because I was just losing my Christian friends.
Right. And you can't be honest with them because like then they'll ostracize you.
Yeah.
Like you're saying. And that's a real fear. Or maybe they won't, but you're scared of that happening.
Right.
So I understand. I feel like breaking down these walls, it, like you said, traumatic, sucks.
Yeah.
It's awful. Especially when you're like your whole life you were going to church 4 times a week, which very godly.
Yes.
Very godly.
Thank
4
you.
times
Most
a week.
godly.
Like, wow.
I was a 3-timer.
Wow. I am
Sunday night, Wednesday night.
I am amongst the holiest.
And
apparently.
Thursdays, because I was like, I'm like mature enough to do the college group.
Oh,
wow.
I'm not in college yet, but like they think I'm cool.
You guys, I was going like, I don't know,
I was going to
twice.
church on hump day. That's what I was told every. They didn't like that one.
Yeah, like you make this circle, your bubble, if you will, and it's all about religion. It's all about Christianity, and then all of a sudden, like that bubble pops. God damn, that's a good metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, it all comes crashing down.
Yeah.
And it's dark. It's depressing. So it's like, and so anyways, to say all that is like journaling for me was definitely a way to work myself through that shit.
Yeah.
Because ADD brain up here is like constantly, I liked how you said it. I can't untangle everything that's going up there. And so seeing it visually, I'm a very visual person. I work in visual arts. That is something that I really enjoy as well about journaling. But then, let's get a little lighter now. You did say in the beginning that you were a visual artist. What does that mean?
I studied visual art in college. So I'm an art education major. I did wind up going to college. I went to Boise State University and became a certified K-12 art educator.
Oh, no
So I was a
shit.
sculpture emphasis, specialized in cast forms. So like with molten metals and
What?
yeah, it was
She
tight.
is a multidisciplinary.
Yeah, you fuck. Yeah, there you go. Wow. Kyle's probably used
I'm
that
coming around. Yeah.
Kyle's used that word more in this podcast than I have. He, secretly he loves it. Well, so okay, what does that mean? What were you making? Like just
Well, a lot of bronze sculptures, and ours are very
shit,
small
that's so
scale.
cool.
But yeah, it was really badass.
Do you still
I was
dabble?
the president of the Boise Sculptors Guild.
oh, did
Ooh.
you get a fucking pin for that or something?
The
That's
BSG,
cool.
baby.
but I did-
Yeah. I like it.
I did get to make like some medallions for like this Boise State powwow. I was selected because they wanted an indigenous student to be the one to design and create these
That's cool.
these medallion awards for this powwow, and we went on some trips and but yeah, that was really fun. I actually went on to be a high school ceramics teacher. That was after I graduated, the job that I got was,
Do you still dabble in the old ceramics, bronze?
So as
work?
far as the foundry goes, the metals you need the facilities, which I don't have. So any visual art that I'm doing now are things that are accessible to me at home. So I will do drawing and painting. I got into jewelry. Last year I was doing some reconstruction. So I'd get thrifted necklaces that I thought looked kind of tacky and remove the ugly elements and reconstruct them into more of a modern
cool.
look.
All right.
And because I'm not I don't have the facilities to do any soldering or anything like that. And just with all of the music equipment that I need, you have to just choose what you want to throw down on.
Right.
You know?
Choose your one passion right now.
Yeah. Which I need so much for. I was just rocking this acoustic guitar that I loved and was also overly expensive, and then really enjoying that. And then in January, Nick gave me an electric guitar. He was like, "Here, this is you play this now." And I was down, but I was like, "Okay."
Yeah,
now I have
changes.
to think about pedals and
noise
amps
gates and tuners.
and I don't know shit about that stuff.
You don't have to. You don't have to though. That's the thing. Whatever just sounds good.
Your guitar tech needs to know though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need
Down
to
the road,
know.
they will. They will for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What was we both play guitar. What was it like learning guitar through COVID? What did you had a guitar, you said, when you were younger, but you really picked it up, you kind of said, during that time.
Yeah, that felt really like relearning. It's I'd had memories of trying, but I'd never demystified the fretboard at all when I was young. I was just messing around, making a lot of noise, being a little rock chick.
Hell yeah.
But I was just trying on covers.
Okay.
Just I was doing a lot of warm-ups and exercises that I'd found just to try and get that dexterity down and
all the scales and all that stuff.
And then just kind of, I started to write based off of I'd cover a song and then I'd kind of be like, "Ooh, these chords are nice," and just
stay on them.
Yeah, just totally readapt them. Absolutely no shame, because you'll see it repeated and repeated. And the first time I did that, I was like, "Oh, this is a completely new song." And a lot of people have a fear of doing that. "Oh, they're going to think I copied." It's you just, with my melody lines that I'm putting over things,
It's completely new original work.
Yeah. So my first song that I wrote on guitar, Birthday Parties, it's on my EP, was based on this song called Then You Can Tell Me Goodbye by the Casinos. And it was just this kind of 50s bop kind of thing.
Yeah.
And and another song off my EP also just was chords that I took from another song. I don't even remember what it was. But
I tend to write I don't write many songs, but the one song I did write for my band, I used this chord I call it the Linkin Park chord. I don't even know what it is, but I just know when I learned a Linkin Park song when I was a kid, it's always stuck in my brain.
Yeah.
So when it came time to write a song for my band, I was like, "Damn!" I was like, "Hell yeah, I got to start out the chorus with this one." So yeah, whatever, I get it.
A chord's a chord.
A chord's a chord.
Jeez.
They don't own it. God.
Yeah, they learned it from somewhere.
Exactly.
I love to sing, and so I would just be kind of putting my fingers somewhere and then just kind of singing to it and seeing what felt good, and not knowing a lot about. I don't know what the chords that I was playing, but now, my bassist, Rick O'Shea, will go and be like, "Oh, this sounds like an Ashley song. Sounds like an Ashley chord." I'm like, "What do you mean?"
That's good.
And so I think I'm doing a lot of, I don't even know. I think he says I do a lot of suspended.
Suspended,
yeah. And so
sus chords.
C major suspended.
Suspicious.
Yeah.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
So I don't know. I wasn't trying to really overthink it, and a lot of those chords are two fingers, And I just was flying with what felt good, because as I was writing these songs, I wasn't really taking this very deliberate, structured process. I'd take these chords from another song, and pre-journaling, before I'd really gotten that proactive about it, my first songwriting experience, writing that whole EP, was all just kind of off the cuff, looping these chords and just kind of singing what was on my mind. And what started to happen was that I realized I need to leave my partner. I had no idea. I mean, my body was kind of shutting down, like hormonally. I had all of this weight gain. I was really depressed. I wasn't eating well, and my skin was really dry. And I didn't really know what was like making me so unhappy until I had started expressing through these songs, because I'd play the loop for 10, 20 minutes, and I always take a voice memo whenever
you got it.
Writing.
Because then you forget it. And
then
you're like, wow, that was
you go
gold.
through, you go, and which I always do 100% of the time. And then I just would go through and kind of like do revision, take out the little golden nuggets. And
so you're really just improvising.
I was.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is like a big part of my upbringing. I did jazz choir all throughout middle school and high school. And so that improvisational aspect throughout all the bands I was in was always really important to me. And it was something that I felt comfortable with when it came to just, I have like melody comes out first. And then if I'm, kind of sleepy and like, so my like inhibitions would be aside a little bit and I could just kind of say whatever I was thinking. And I would just kind of sometimes, I had like a music room there, but like my former partner would be in the next room. And I would just be kind of like singing something. Oh shit! Can he hear me? And then
we need to break up.
He's playing video games. We need to break up.
He was actually. Ooh, it's so funny that you said he was playing video games.
Oh shit!
That was really. There's gonna be some people who are listening to this.
Oh my god! I think she's breaking up with me.
Yeah. It was Fortnite.
Yeah,
he's playing Fortnite and in the next room and. And
we're done.
That was
what? I love that you can laugh about it now. So I'm sure we're not like pushing your experience down. I'm sure it's traumatizing.
Yeah. Oh, thanks
and also
a lot for bringing that up.
but I like that we can all laugh about it now.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. So you said earlier that you're, wanting to get back in the studio. Do you have any plans? What's the future look like?
I do. I feel kind of like behind on this process, but I'm
You're right where you need to be.
Yeah, which you know what? I agree. It's the same. Yep. I think that too with like, oh, I'm so sad I could be fucking shredding right now if my dad didn't get rid of my guitars in fourth grade.
Dad.
But I am happy about when I started to learn guitar because I don't know. I've probably been writing some silly stuff around. Who knows?
When you're that old,
you'd be like, well, that's not in the pentatonic scale, So I have to switch it up to the Ionian.
It's nice. It's nice having that freedom of expression. Like before I ever really overthought songwriting, I was like I didn't know anything about guitars, just making sounds, and it felt good, and so nice. that kind of happened that way. But right now I am making a little bit more of a deliberate effort to write my next project. I've got 4 mostly demoed out of like, I think 6 songs I'd like to release this year. I'm going to get in the studio with Huss.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm. Who I was made familiar with Parlor in the Round.
Yeah.
When Quinn did it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh shit, this guy's good.
Yeah, he's the homie. Yeah. For sure. And I've applied for grants to, be able to pay him or work with him in the future. But yeah, he just wants to we are just down to like help each other out. Cool. So I'm going to be recording with him because he really believes in what I'm doing and I really believe in what he's doing. And Zane Penny is another one of our tight homies. Yes. And the 3 of us are going on a tour in September, the 9th through the 20th. I've been booking.
Alaska?
No, we're going to go West Coast. I've been booking for us. Yeah. We have a few confirmed shows already. I've just been emailing up a storm. And what's really nice is that, that's kind of somewhere where I can support them because it's something that, I have a lot of experience doing, like keeping those correspondences and stuff.
So everybody's got their own little thing.
Yeah, we've and it really is just like this team thing. We all really do need each other, and so.
You're like, guys, the Climate Pledge arena is booked that day. But, you guys have any other ideas?
Crypto Center.
Staples
busy down
Arena.
there,
I don't know what else. I'm all fresh out of ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm excited for that. Playing any of those shows coming up in Alaska?
Yeah, the next show I'm booked to do is Allen Palooza.
What is that?
Allen Palooza is there's a whole bunch of us playing, and it's going to be at the Nave. It's on the 9th.
Oh.
Yeah, and you guys should try and make it. It's donations based. It's a Pass the Bucket series. I believe it's a benefit for the Special Olympics.
Oh, nice.
So Ed Washington, Rosie Rush, Carino, Hollis Bryan,
You.
me, Zane Penny, Huss, and
Damn, a great
yeah,
lineup.
there might be a couple more.
Killer.
AG Two Tone,
Kyle and Steven.
Sorry for whoever I'm forgetting.
attending.
Yeah. Well, we'll
Yeah,
be there.
but-
We won't be on stage.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. And I'm excited we'll see that one.
Yeah,
Um,
Sundown the week after that.
oh yeah, you're playing
Yeah.
Sundown.
Mhm.
We will actually. Kyle and I will definitely be there.
Word.
And we're very excited about that too. We're very excited about you and your career. You know, like I said, we saw you play at Beartooth for the first time, and we were just like, "Who the fuck? What? Like, where did you
In a
come
good
from?"
way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who
no.
the fuck is that?
Get him off the fucking
Steven's
stage.
like, what?
No, in a great way. Because we were just kind of blown away, right? Because I feel like we come from that. We said we touched a little bit on it earlier. We come from that old school hardcore stuff, and so like honestly, our shows was just like these. You know, just like shreddy metal,
Oh,
like
yeah.
can't understand. So that's kind of what we're used to. And so now I feel like now in our older age, which we're not old, but we're getting
A more refined,
chiller
a refined
palate. Yeah.
You could almost say it's. I was gonna go multidisciplinary.
I knew you were. I knew you were. You
In
son
terms
a
of my
bitch.
music, you know, but
Yeah.
whatever.
And so yeah, it was like refreshing and being like, oh, two great talented acts in front of us from our home state. I think
And-
that was something to be very proud of.
And that show was awesome. I mean,
That
in
show
reality,
was.
I thought it sucked, honestly, but
yeah.
That show
that's
was
just
because there was a
terrible.
videographer up there that was really
that's
annoying
just
me.
Yeah, he kept walking in front of me. God damn.
Yeah.
That was the most exciting. I mean, that was the biggest show I've still ever played.
Yeah.
And it really
Sold out.
lit this fire in me to just, that was the first time that I'd taken my solo sound into a full band sound.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the first time.
Yeah. I'd just been doing
When,
solo.
When did the live album come out? At
the
Frostline?
lives from Frostline.
Was that after?
Oh yeah, that was after.
So okay,
for sure.
so wow.
we
okay.
but we recorded that the week of that show.
Oh.
It was I think it was Wednesday that we recorded, and then we performed on Friday.
Yeah. Wow.
And so, but it was just kind of like, well, I was anticipating, I was manifesting that I was going to make it on that tour with Nick, and I wanted to make sure
you were
that
just like,
Hey, Nick.
if you
Yeah.
don't fucking take me, I fucking will do it. I'll slit your throat, Nick.
Yeah. Look at I'm manifesting it, Nick. Come on.
Yeah.
That's how I would manifest it.
Yeah, that's our extent
Did
of
you
ours.
see this manifestation I put down here?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is cool. I love that.
Yeah.
And also, so we were just very excited. We can't wait for new music. We can't wait for more shows. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, where
really
can everybody
appreciate it.
find the music and all that stuff that you want to point them towards?
Yeah, all of the music that I have, you can just find Ashley Young on any streaming platform.
Got them all covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Deezer.
these are first and foremost. No, and I got an email about like, your music is now live on Deezer.
DistroKid? Are you DistroKid?
Yeah, DistroKid.
I get that too. I was like, who the fuck is Deezer?
I thought it was gonna be like
It's like-
these nuts.
These.
Yeah,
It's like, where can I find your music?
My-
Only
No,
on
they're trying to
Tidal and Deezer.
yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. And then social medias.
Yeah, Ashley Daydreaming on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. My fave.
I know.
TikTok.
Actually, daydreaming.
Are you addicted yet?
I'm working on it.
You're getting close.
Man, we're getting
I mean,
there.
I definitely am addicted.
Got to dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, I might have to.
I've got a problem on TikTok that in previous episodes we've covered.
Multiple episodes. This guy loves to talk about it.
A lot of nudity that somehow popped up on mine.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
I was trying to get addicted.
Unexplainable.
Yeah. Anyway, well, we don't even need to get into it on the podcast because we've recorded it too many times.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you for coming on.
Dude,
Yeah,
thank
we're
you.
very excited about
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in. Kyle and Steven will be back with a new episode next week. In the meantime, check out GoFixYourselfPodcast.com. And remember to always go fix yourself.